memorize this?
Yeah, I will. I'll be reading it.
We're rolling. You can do it.
Okay. Today is July 24th, 1995. I will be interviewing Lea Pilecki, Wapnik, maiden name. The interviewer is Tina Tito. We are in Little Neck, New York, USA. The interview will be conducted in English.
Thank you. Okay, guys, you're on.
Today is July 24th, 1944. I will be interviewing Lea Pilecki. I am the interviewer, Tina Tito.
Well, you said today is July 1944, which would be a great year.
Sorry, today is
Okay.
July 24th, 1995.
Okay, here we go. Speed. And we have speed.
Mrs. Pilecki, would you please tell me your full name and spell it for us?
My name is Lea, L-E-A, Pilecki, P-I-L-E-C-K-I, Wapnik, W-A-P-N-I-K.
Were you always called Lea? Did your family call you Lea?
The family called me Lea. I wanted it should be Lisa. My father had a lot of children, so he didn't remember. But in school I was Lisa, and like Lea.
Fine. And where were you born?
I was born in Vilna,
In what year?
1924.
Do you know the full date? Your
September the 22nd, 1924, an Deutsche Gasse, Deutsche Street, Niemiecka ulica, 21.
In Vilna, Lithuania.
Yeah, it
Was
was
it-
Poland.
It was
Now
Poland.
it's the capital for Lithuania.
Fine. And could you tell me your father's full name?
My father's name was Fischl, F-I-S-H-E-L, Wapnik.
What did your father do?
My father had a brother. They remodeled together houses, villages. They moved everything. When it burned down, the whole villages were traveling around.
Was this typical for Jewish men to do at that time?
He made the roofs, a blecher they called. They remodeled together. Matter of fact, it were burned down. I remember they told me a little village, Ivie. And my father went with my uncle, and they took my youngest brother. They made a lot of money there when
Did
they
he
came.
live in the village while he did it, or did he
Yeah.
come back home?
Yeah, they went up for a few weeks, yeah.
They went
Yeah.
And your mother's full name?
Bella, B-E-L-L-A, Wapnik Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, and Wapnik, W-A-P-N-I-K.
Right. And did your mother do any work out of the home?
I don't remember, but they told me that Mommy had underwear, but 15 girls, they made underwear.
Did she have a place that she
Yeah,
went to?
yeah, she had a place, yeah.
That she rented?
She had a place, I really don't know. They had like a factory a little, yeah.
And this was her factory?
Yeah,
Did
from
both
underwear.
your parents grow up in Vilna?
yeah, yeah.
Do you know how many generations they lived in Vilna?
I remember the grandma, Esther,
Your mother's mother?
my father's mother. My mother's mother was here in America. She died on Ocean Parkway, 1225. My mother had 3 brothers here.
So they moved on, but she stayed.
Yeah, she stayed. She didn't want to go. She said she has America there.
Was she the only one of her family that stayed in Vilna?
Yeah,
No sisters or brothers remained. She
No.
remained.
yeah.
Okay. You had lots of sisters and brothers.
I had 4 brothers. One would be 94 now,
His name?
Moses.
And your next brother?
Itzik would be 92. I have a brother now. He's going to be 90, Shleime. And then I had my youngest brother, would be 88.
His name?
Rachmiel.
And your sisters?
My sisters was Sonia. After Sonia was born, was a whole open house for a month. You know, it was the gramophones with the tubes, you know, was playing. And charity my mother gave, because my sister was born after 4 boys. And then was Nadia. And then was a little boy, Labele, after my grandpa. He died when he was 2 years from Kuppenkorf. And then I was born. My mother was 40 years old.
Your mom was 40.
Was 40, yeah.
Okay. Tell me about, because you were the baby to everyone,
Yeah.
tell me about your relationship with your sisters and brothers.
Oh, I was like a doll to them. I was spoiled. They called me the collector. I didn't kiss my brothers without money. And I had a very good life. The only thing, beautiful life. We kissed each other each time when we saw each other, maybe 10 times a day. It was a family like this. And I remember that my brother told me when the mother walked out in the street with the 4 sons for a walk, she said, "Don't go with me, go in the back." She had a red ribbon because they shouldn't give an on her, the 4 sons. They never walked with her. When he went for a walk with the father, they went in front or they were in the back, not together. They shouldn't give an on her.
Not give an evil
A bad eye.
An evil eye.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Would you believe it? But my mother died 1931. I was 6 years old.
What-
7 years old.
You were just about 7. What happened to your mom?
Cancer in the stomach.
Did she suffer a lot for a long time?
A year, I think. A year.
Was she taken care of at home?
No, she was in the hospital, and then she came home Wednesday and Friday. I remember I came from school, started, and we had a girl, a Polish girl, Hela. And I said, "Papa, it hurts me, I have a sore throat." So, and I didn't walk over to the room where my mom was there. I walked in, I said, I have a sore throat. My father says, "You know what, Hela? Give her a little Siemens and put her to bed." When I woke up, the screaming, my mother was dying. And my brother took me. My brother lived across the street, my youngest one. He took me out from bed. Walking as he held me, I saw that my brother Itzik held my mother and was crying, holding her and talking to her. And then I saw my father was knocking his head in the wall, and he took me across the street. And I was there a whole week. I had scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever?
Yeah.
So you were quite sick?
Yeah, I was there. The skin came out with everything. I was asking, "Where's my mommy?" They said that Mama is in the hospital on a wheelchair. She died Sunday. And I came, she died Friday, Sunday was the funeral, but I didn't know a whole year. After 2 weeks I was screaming, I want to go to home. They took me home. And I was home and I saw then that before they walking into me, takes time, you know. And I was looking through the keyhole and I saw that my brother was wearing a black
Armband.
ribbon, yeah. So I said to my father, "What happened?" He said, "Nothing good."
Couldn't tell you.
No, they didn't tell me. They didn't tell me. But through the window, my girlfriends knocked in the door always. They couldn't go into me. And they said, "You know, your mother died, your mother died." I had scarlet fever. They couldn't go. But they said, "No, she's in the hospital." And then after a year, I went to the cemetery.
They didn't tell you this
No,
whole year?
no.
You guessed at it? You knew?
I knew.
You didn't discuss it?
I saw my sister walked in with a black, veil.
Did all of your sisters and brothers know? Only you?
Yeah, not me.
So they all protected you?
Yeah,
Now, how many of your sisters and brothers were married at this time?
all of them.
All of them?
I was all of them. My brother married off the Nadia. He was a very wealthy man. My
Moshe.
youngest one, Rachmiel,
Rachmiel.
the youngest one. And my oldest one was a CPA accountant for the government, was an intelligent, educated man, Moses.
When you say educated, what was the education at that time of each?
It was a big education. My sister went to Russian Gymnasium. My sister Nadia went to Jewish Val Gymnasium, graduate. I went to a Polish school.
In elementary school, you went
Elementary. It's a little
Polish?
more. It's a little more than elementary. It's not like here,
To
the
eighth
public
grade,
school.
1 to
yeah,
eighth
eighth
grade. You went to a public
Yeah.
Polish
Yeah,
school.
Riga-Kaiserwald, yeah.
The language was Polish.
Polish, yeah.
What was the language you spoke at home?
The parents spoke Russian. And my sister and my brother spoke Russian too.
So the language at school was never Russian,
No,
spoken or written. It was only Polish. Polish history,
Polish is everything.
not Russian history.
In my house?
In school.
No,
No.
only Polish. Polish, yeah.
And did you do anything after your 8 years of schooling in the elementary? Did you go on to some other studies?
No, they didn't let me work. I wanted to go for expedient in a very fancy store from Paris. They didn't let me work. And then they told me I should go to Eliza Zhishkova in gymnasium. The war broke out.
The war broke out. So you finished your 8 years in this school.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
was the name of the school?
Riga-Kaiserwald was 7, and then the last year we moved from Kievska ulica, we moved on Deutsche Gas, Niemiecka ulica, over there, where I was born. I came back. And there was a school, 39 was the 8th grade to finish there. And the Russians came in. Because I remember I was singing a Zapivaila solo in the streets the 1st of May with the school, Komsomols, you know.
The Commissols.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Let me ask you about the house you remember. Which house is it that you can describe to me?
I remember the restaurant. We had a restaurant. What I remember on Pilsudskiego, corner Pilsudski and Kievsky, we had a restaurant. This is what I remember.
Who ran the restaurant?
My father or my mother. Everybody knew us there. And then I remember that when the mother died there, and we went to Deutsche Gas, Niemiecka ulica.
Before you moved, was it an apartment building? Was it a
It
house?
was an apartment in a yard. Over there was yards, you know, not buildings. It was, but this was an apartment, a big
A
apartment.
big apartment, but one floor.
With the restaurant.
With the restaurant.
Yeah. 1 floor.
But when you were born, most of your siblings were married.
Yeah.
So it's not that you had big 5 bedrooms because they didn't
No.
need it at that time.
No.
They were out.
Yeah. I
And-
was the only one in Nadia.
And
New
not in the
Nadia.
house.
When my mother died,
Right.
she was a year by Moses. And then I'm going to tell you something, if you believe or something, but my youngest brother, Rechmiel, had a dream on Friday that he should go. He was very rich, successful.
What was his business?
He had expeditions from leather, and then he opened up a factory from sandals. There was 100 people working.
And you said he had offices all over.
From the leather. He had in Warsaw, he had in all the leather, the areas. He had in Kwiatowa where he lived, he had the office, and then he had he moved across from the office in a big apartment. I was there 8 years ago. It was 9 years ago. The Russians were in Vilna, and I went to look the apartment. It was the main office building from the apartment from the medicines from Russia. I was there to look. I was crying. And then they said, what's the matter? I said, that's my brother lived there. This was an apartment, unbelievable. We had a bed top there. He had a nana, he had 3 girls. He was a very rich man. And so the mother he was dreaming about my mother, that he should go to Moses and take Nadia and hold her, and God will help you. And my Moses was like a king by then, whatever Moses says, you know, by the brothers. He was most educated and the oldest. So my brother came and he says, Moses, listen, this and this, and he took Nadia, because he had a maid, he had a nanny, and he married her off in 1937. In 1937.
Were marriages created by the family,
Yeah,
basically?
my brother gave the wedding. You can imagine. I remember. I was dancing a dance there. My papa was there, my father. And then he died in 1937. My father died.
What happened to your father?
He had intestine sick. It busted.
My goodness.
And again, they didn't tell me. But I said that now I'm going. I know that Daddy is in the hospital. And I went there.
You were the only one living with your father after your mother
Yeah.
died.
Yeah.
And so you moved and you lived in a
With
smaller
my
apartment.
brother, Itzik.
Oh, Itzik lived with your father too?
Yeah.
With his
And,
family?
Yeah. He had with the daughter. He was divorced. And we had a maid. He kept us. Then my father died. And we remained in Deutsche Gas, me and my brother. And then my sister Sonia moved in because my brother-in-law worked for chocolate, Saroti. And because he was Jewish, my brother-in-law, they threw him out from work. And he didn't have any work. So they took him in the factory from the shoes, and he was the manager. And my sister was shining with glass on the shoes. And we all were there. Upstairs was the apartment, and downstairs was a big factory.
So everybody helped each other?
Everybody, everybody.
What synagogue did you belong to in Vilna?
It was, when I was a little girl, I remember it was, forgot the name, but here
Schuster?
was the Schuster shoe.
Right. It was a known synagogue in Vilna.
Yeah, and Kievsky, I remember I went every Friday with my father holding the hand with the brothers because they gave wine and cake there.
After the services, you liked it.
I like to go with them, yeah.
So you went to services?
Yeah, Friday.
You sat with your father?
Yeah, with the brothers.
And they let you sit, as a
Yeah.
girl, they let you sit with the men?
Yeah.
Because you were little.
Yeah.
Do you remember the rabbi?
No. I knew the name, but lately, since my husband died, the 4 years when he was sick with this stroke, I start remembering now, but I was so busy with him, unbelievable. Forgot the name.
Did you study any Hebrew on the side
We
after school?
belonged to organization.
What
Zionist.
organization?
Beitar, the Irgun. And then came Grossman, and it was a separation, so I went to the Masada from the same thing to them. So I belonged there always, all the years.
What did you do in the
We were
organization?
learning Hebrew, lessons about Palestine, and singing and dancing Horvaths, and this was beautiful. And we went to, it's like we were like soldiers. We went to Moshova, Moshova?
Moshav?
Yeah, for 2 months, for a month, who had money, And over there we were with other organizations, comparing, So we belonged to organizations.
So the
all of
Jews
us.
knew each other in the town. You had chances to meet through organizations.
Yeah, sure.
And the Jewish press, do you remember your father reading a Jewish paper?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember the name?
Abendkurier was the name from the paper.
Was it in Yiddish or
In Yiddish.
in Yiddish? Did you speak Yiddish at home?
Yeah. It's funny that I never learned Jewish in writing. I remember the rabbi came always in Ghetto, the rabbi came to my nephew. So he came in the house. In Ghetto he was. The same rabbi was with my brothers, but I don't remember this. But we all spoke Jewish, and the Abendkurier was the paper.
The paper that your father read the Polish press? Was he?
Must be, that's it, sure.
Did you remember your parents having friends that were not in the Jewish community?
I don't remember.
Did you mix? Did you have friends that were, because you went to a normal public school,
We
did
had
you have friends that were not Jewish?
Very seldom. Yeah, we had a few, I went in the country, so I mixed with the Jewish, with the non-Jewish
You went
people.
away in the summers to the country.
Yeah.
Where did you go?
I went to Jerusalemka, and then I went to Amborova.
Where did you stay?
We had apartments. And then I went to Paspieszk. Matter of fact, when the war broke out, I was in the country. Yeah. My brother sent me then to Saskiewicz, this is near Oshmene, with his little girl, with a maid, and the war broke out, and they took away by hand. My brother had 5 the diesels, but they traveled all over Poland, near the Russian, the borders. We couldn't go home, so he ordered a hearse and a wagon, and he took us home.
Did you at that point need special papers to pass through cities?
No.
No, not yet.
No.
Okay, before
That
we
was
go...
right to Ukraine, where I was.
Where you staying?
Yeah.
Did you go every summer? Were you...
We were every summer in the country.
Now, as you said, in the country you met many different types of people.
Yeah.
Did you feel anti-Semitism when you were growing up?
No, once. Yeah.
What
once.
happened? Why do you say once?
We belonged to the organization. We had friends. We were out with older boys, not younger, same age, you know. But I didn't like it. So from the organization was about 6 years older. Intelligent boys from gymnasium, intelligent boys. We were standing on Breite Gas, Wielka ulica, and waiting to go into the movies, casino. And we were there by 4 boys and 3 girls, girlfriends, you know. And all of a sudden, 2 men pushed through us, and they said in Polish, "Rozejdźcie się, Żydzi."
Which means?
Go from here, Jews. Spread yourself from here. My friend, he is in Los Angeles, punched him. We didn't know that this is police. It was without uniforms. Punched him, knocked him down. They arrested him. His father was a president from the bank, my friend's father. We always talk about this, always. And they arrested him, they let him go. It was in court. Not everybody spoke so well Polish. So they said, "Lea, you're going to be the witness." I was afraid for my brothers, you know. But I went. They always talk. We met each other to the Holocaust gathering now. They came special to the Holocaust. And he told this story about me. And I stand up in the court and said, "Staliśmy, rozmawialiśmy." We were standing and talking, and all of a sudden, I was a good witness. This was my first experience.
And he got off. He didn't
He
go to
got
jail.
off.
So they were fair to him in the court system.
His
Now,
father
what was
alive.
the reason? What did these...
Just like this.
ju-
Just like this. Because it was Deutsche, the Niemiecka ulica was a Jewish street day and night. People were back and forth, young people, the Jewish people, the Wielka ulica, Niemiecka ulica. This was for Jewish people.
So he knew you had to be Jewish because you were there.
We were there standing by the movies, you know, on the corners, you know, talking. It was good children, good, intelligent people, you know. But it just happened that I saw it the first time.
And your father never discussed it at home. It was never an issue within the family to talk about what...
My brothers, if they would say Jew, I have a brother Witzik. They went to the movies once, the brothers. He could kill them.
So they were very proud, very strong.
Matter of fact, that my brother told me he comes here, you know, for a week. So he told me a story that they went to, I don't know where they went for a walk. We lived on Kijowska ulica there. And something was that the Polish boys did something, they beat up a Jewish boy. So then a Polish boy said, "Don't touch them, this is Fischer, Bella's sons."
So they knew the power of your brothers. So there was a division within the town. The Jews stayed in certain streets. People that weren't Jewish
Nothing
stayed?
did, no, but
No.
This was mingling the Jewish section, where the ghetto then later was. You know, the Jewish section. They mingled the Jewish people. There was all kind of people, Polish people. Like it was ulica Nowogródzka, a street. they wouldn't touch the arju because there was all from the meat. They had stores from the meat.
The butchers.
The butchers. They wouldn't touch there.
I understand.
Never.
So there was a sense of protecting, there was a sense of protecting
It was
oneself.
anti-Semitism, but this was the first time. Then the second time was, this was awful, the pogrom we had, a pogrom, the first time.
The first time, what was the year that this happened?
This was in 1939.
At the movies, 1939?
It was when the Russians came in, and I don't remember 1940, they were fighting the Lithuanian with the Polish over Vilna. Because before I was born, this belonged to Lithuania, Vilna. Eventually, this was Lita. And they always were fighting about Vilna. So when the Russians came in, the Polish were fighting both with the Lithuanians, and they made all of a sudden, my brother went to pick up, they said, a pogrom on Końska ulica. They threw out a woman to the window. They cut the pillows like snow, the feathers flew. And this was my friend's mother, a son, a friend of ours. And my brother went to school to pick up, you saw the picture, the little boy, my nephew, and my brother was all bleeding, they beat him up.
In school?
The Lithuania, the Polacks, they made a pogrom. The first time what I saw, they closed all the doors, the yards, it was iron doors on our street, and they closed them, we didn't go out. This was a terrible pogrom.
When was it, in the fall of 1939?
Yeah, 1939, 40.
Okay.
1940.
1940
Yeah.
already, we're already reaching 1940.
And then the Russians came in. Somebody called, please help. And the Russians came in for it. And then they gave up to Lithuania, Vilna.
They gave
And everything, when I went to school still the last year, everything we learned in Lithuanian.
in Lithuanian.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to stop the tape
Yeah.
and continue. Thank you. This is tape 2, July 24th, 1995, interview with Lea Pilecki.
Thank you.
Before we go into the pogrom again and what happened in 1940 when the Russians came in, let's just go back and talk about your life as a young girl with your singing lessons and your dancing lessons. You had a very interesting background.
Yeah, I was dancing by Nina Gerstein, ballet, few years. And then I belonged to the, it was a choir, Slip, Lea Slip, he was a teacher. He had a choir about 200, 250. Was two, Gerstein, the teacher Gerstein, and the teacher Slip, and I was by Slip. And I was there the last years. I was a solo singer.
How wonderful. Was this just Jewish students or mixed?
Jewish. Yeah, Jewish students. Yeah.
And so where did you perform?
We were singing, matter of fact, I was singing then in Geta too, was the choir.
So it continued?
Right.
Okay.
But we had concerts. We had concerts.
Where
yeah.
where were the concerts held? What kind of
We
place?
had a club, special by him,
And you invited people from the community?
Yeah, we were singing, yeah, sure.
How many students belonged to this?
It was a lot of girls and boys. Oh, a lot of them.
Couple hundred?
Yeah, I think so. And then I started taking singing lessons by Luba Levitska, the teacher. And solfeggio, you know.
Did your family feel you had a particular
My
talent?
my brothers want me to send me to Italy, and I would be older to sing. Yeah,
They hoped that you
Yeah.
had.
yeah. I was always singing. always singing. Friday night we went out and I went into my girlfriend. So my girlfriend's mother said, if you'll sing something, Eile, Eile, I'm going to give you a piece of tegerts, potato kugel. And the corner, I couldn't go out to the houses. You sing Eile, Eile. I love to sing.
I didn't ask you, did you have Shabbat every Friday night in your house when you were young?
We had, yeah.
Very
yeah.
formal, traditional family?
Yeah, sure. Pesach, I asked the 4 questions until my nephew was born. Of course. Yeah. I had a big family. Everybody was married. My youngest brother had 3 girls. The second brother had a boy and girl. Then they had, Shlomo had 1 girl. And the youngest one had 3.
And did they all come to your parents'
11
house?
nieces and nephews.
Wow. Did they all come to your parents' house?
Yeah. And then when my parents died, they came to Sonia, to my sister. Every day she made, 1 o'clock was dinner. From work they came to her, in Niemiecka ulica, Deutsche Gas, and they met, all 4 of them. Yeah.
Wonderful.
They
Okay,
were
let's
together.
move forward now to 1940.
1939 the war broke out.
Right.
So I was on Deutsche Gas. Then my sister Sonia, with my brother. We had a girl, the Polish girl with us, and my brother's girl, Bella, too, my niece, that was with us. And then we lived there for the Russian times. My brothers were a little in trouble because they had a factory, you know. So, but thank God they were good bosses. Then came the Bolsheviks. So it was a little scary. They shouldn't take them to Siberia. I wish they would take them. And when they took out from a street from Deutsche Gas, it was one of the biggest business, Deutsche, Niemiecka ulica, Wielka ulica. So he was hiding. They were hiding in a basement when they took out the rich people. I wish they would take him. And I
This was in 1939 already?
1940.
1940.
Yeah. And they took out all the rich people of Siberia. My sister went away, wanted to go to her husband's brother in a little village.
Which sister?
My Sonia, the oldest one. And they left. She was pregnant. She was ashamed. She had a girl, but she didn't want to get pregnant. So she went there to his brother, and I went to my brother, to my youngest brother. And we moved there. I was there a year, and then the Germans came in.
But you still held on to all your factories. They didn't take them away from you.
We closed everything.
Everything was closed.
Yeah.
Was not functioning anymore.
No.
So money was not coming into the houses.
No, but they had money.
They saved. They
had
prepared
money.
themselves.
Yeah.
Did before the Germans came in?
My brother went in to work by them.
In his own factories?
Yeah, and the Russian, and the you see, it was, how they called it, Kaiserwald was for communists, a prison. My brother, when he opened the factory, all the people who worked saw the shoes were communists mostly, you know. So they were from Kaiserwald without food, without tea. They beat them out, and they let them out. My brother took them in the factory, and he paid out money for clothes for them, like 50 cents a week, a zlot a week, you know. He was a very good boss. When the Russians came in, they gave him a union book. He was away for a few months in a different village, in a little city, in a little shtetl. Was there for 3 months. The wife was with us, with the children. Then he came back and he was there. We lived there, moved out from the house, came there and back on Kievsky. Until the Germans came in.
And when did the Germans actually move into town?
In 41.
41.
In June 41. with the bombs, and the Russians, what they made from the Russians, you can't imagine, from the soldiers, they were running back. They became, what do you say in English, they catch them, all the Russian soldiers, they beat them up. It was marching over through the city, it was terrible.
So the Russians left.
The Russians left, and the Germans came in, the bombing, it was terrible, unbelievable.
Was a lot of the city destroyed?
Destroyed, 2 days when the Germans came in. The Germans came in, the men were hiding, at night, and the attic, and we were standing in line, the young girls, for sugar and bread,
So you had rationing?
Yeah. And they came the young SS people, the soldiers, they couldn't believe that we are Jewish girls, blonde, blue eyes. The other ones were standing in the line. They said, "You Jewish? You're Jewish?" And then in 2 weeks, somebody gave a shot at night, a bullet. We heard it, somebody. And they said that a Jew killed a German. And they took through the night 20,000 Jewish men out from the houses, and they left the women with the children.
Where did they take the men?
Panari.
And what did they do?
And it was my boyfriend was there, and his brother, because I was looking for him, and he lived in the city. But they told me that they took them away.
They just walked into the houses at night,
At
grabbed the
night,
men, and took them.
20,000. 2 weeks when the Germans came.
And they just murdered them?
They called the Chapares, the Chapunes, and straight to Panar. And believe, my brother was still thank God for us, the youngest brother, and the wife and the children, and they took away my sister-in-law's father and the brother. And the wife, all the people with two daughters were left. All the women were home. So then they start taking men, chapares, at night. And they left the children, the women with the children. And one day I heard that they took my brother-in-law. My sister lived on Ostrobrama. In Vilna was a very holy Ostrobramska Brama, holy place. When you had to walk through, you had to take off the head. This was strict. The Jewish people, everybody had to take off the head. It was a church on the top, a balcony. And my sister lived there, Ostrobramska, and I heard that they took her husband. So I was there. I was standing in line. I was blonde. I was standing in line because it was allowed only until 6 o'clock to walk. And we were not allowed to walk on the sidewalks. We had to walk where the cars, and like ducks, one after the other. And the yellow stars.
Where was the yellow star?
Here.
On your chest?
Yeah. In the back and in the front. It was not allowed on the sidewalk. So I went there, and she lived in an apartment, in a building, with a nice life, but a short one. And she had a baby, and during the war she went in the country, and the baby had diphtheria, I told you, yeah, and died 2 years old. And they took him before the Russians came in. The Polish were fighting. My brother, my brother-in-law, and my boyfriend went to the army, and they all came back. They all
were in the Polish army.
In Germany, yeah, in German.
They were trying to fight the Germans.
Yeah, and they came back, all 3 of them, and all 3. Then, when I went to my sister, she told me that they took Bora, the husband, and she was running after him, and they kicked her. She was pregnant in the 4th month, so my brother-in-law made like this, go. They kicked her, they beat her. I didn't know that she was pregnant, so I stayed with her.
Now, which sister was this?
My sister.
Nadia?
Nadia. And then I had to go back. She went to the in-laws, and she wanted to go. When I went home to my brother, and then they wanted to make a ghetto, so they took out in one day. In one day, men went to work. My 3 brothers went to work, 2 brothers, and the sister-in-laws were 3 sister-in-laws in the same apartment. They lived during the war. They were together. And then the brothers went to work. They took the little streets, the Jewish streets, small streets, about 5, 6.
Can you name some of them?
Strashuna. I lived in Strashuna. And then the Shabelsky, Idische Gas. This was, they made 2 ghettos. But to make the ghettos, they took out all the women in the daytime, in the morning with the children. So my brothers worked by the Germans, they worked in a place, and they told him that, look what happened, they heard that they're taking the women. So they took a German, they asked a German, they should go with them, that the wife is there, he wants to see. Only my nephew, they could take out the boy. The girls, all of them died. They killed them on Panavi, immediately let them go to Panavi. And then they had all the streets empty apartments. It was 9 nieces and 3 sister-in-laws.
And the rest of the people were in the ghetto?
Then, in a week later, they took us with the clothes, whatever we could take, with you. And my sister, once she was pregnant with a big stomach, and she wanted to go to us. She was warning, and then she saw the stores were closed. It was Jewish sections, and she was washing, and then she saw she couldn't go. She went into the in-laws, and they went into the ghetto, and our section, out from the city, they took us to jail, to Lukiškė Sturme jail.
Why did they take your section?
Because it was no place maybe already. The rest, they took us to jail.
How many people were crowded?
Thousands and thousands of people, maybe 20,000 people, women and children. And a few men what we were. Took us straight to jail. We were there for a few days, in the rooms. Should excuse me, with the bathroom sitting. This was unbelievable. Lukiškė Turma, it is called, the jail. This has 7 doors. Each door was knocked. It's like a bomb. 7 doors they had. We were there in a room. My brother gave a Lithuanian soldier a few. And they let us down outside. And they let us outside. We had maybe we'll survive. So my brother was the only man with his wife, 3 girls, the mother-in-law, and the 2 sister-in-laws, and I was the sister. Then my brother from ghetto, he worked by the Germans. He was begging him, he gave him money or something, and he came to the jail, and my brother worked in a Beutenlager. Beutenlager, this was for the Germans. So this German man, a lieutenant, came with my brother Itzik, the second brother, and the youngest brother was with me, 1 man. And they took out, the Beutenlager took out 1,000 Jewish people, the people where they worked, the names they called. It came to us. The German said, the colonel says, wie viele Frauen hast du? How many women you have? Who are there? So this is my wife, this is my mother, this is my sister-in-law, and me, the sister, they pushed away. I was standing outside, all left. The door was closed, and I was standing looking. My brother looked at me, that I was there. But you are so strong, something. I was standing. They closed the door. Not even 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I couldn't go in there. Here was the door closed. And it was thousands. My sister-in-law was my sister's girlfriend. She went in. She gave a man a few dollars, and he took her for a wife with the mother. Say that, a young man. And she went out with him. And I was alone. 5 or 10 minutes, I don't remember. The same German walked in, or another, but I don't remember. Was machst du hier? I said that my father was there. They closed it. He pushed me out. I went in the group, and was the first one from the group I standed. And we walked in the ghetto. I was the first one, and I saw my sister. 1,000 people who went into the ghetto.
This was September of 41.
Not September, June, I think. June, July, I don't remember. September. So good enough, we stayed in this apartment where my brother lived before the war. It was about 28 people, 25 people in the apartment together, 3 families, 4 families. My sister had supposed to have the baby, and they were killing the babies in the hospital. It was not supposed to give birth. And we were so scared always that the grabbing juice, you know, she woke me up. She was with the mother-in-law, with her husband's mother. The father-in-law they took away. And my sister had a room with the mother-in-law, and my brother, Itzik, the second brother. And she was a wife to my brother, and I was a daughter to my oldest brother. That's how we survived, with the papers and the yellow shines. So she walks over to me at night. She says, Linke, I have to go. So I was sure that they were looking for juice. I said, oh, me gehabt. She said, no, I have to go to the hospital. And going at night was not allowed to go. But I went with her. I didn't wake up nobody. Went with her to the Jewish hospital, Yiddish hospital.
This was inside the ghetto?
In the ghetto. There, the crazy people were there. They brought from outside. At 11 o'clock, we went there. You walk at night, you know, the hills were knocking. We were scared. We went over to the hospital. 11 o'clock, on 7 o'clock, she had the baby. I was with her whole night. She had a son.
Everything was okay?
Everything was all right.
Did you leave immediately? Or
No, I was standing there.
She could stay.
Yeah, and she was in the hospital. She brought the baby, and then my brothers wanted to make her freeze. So the mother-in-law, so we had a girl, but she was by us in the house, Renia. She was sleeping by us, young girl. She had a baby the same week that my sister had. She had a girl, my sister had a boy. She came to the ghetto, she wanted to take out the baby. She was by us a few years. This a younger, and her mother-in-law starts screaming, Banditen, you bandits, you want to take, they took away my son, and now you're taking away the baby. I'm not going to let them. They made a brace, and he stayed in the ghetto.
Did you ask a rabbi to come? Or
The rabbis were there.
And they came?
Yeah, the rabbi came. They made a brace, and he was in ghetto. We lived in ghetto. And,
let me ask you, you said you had the yellow pass. There weren't many yellow passes because that meant life or death. That meant work.
Yeah.
How did you get the yellow pass?
My brothers worked. And who worked? It was agencies that they worked, they get a yellow shine.
Yes, but the Judenrat gave them out.
The German, the Judenrat gave them out. Yeah.
Did you
Without
have
a yellow shine, you couldn't live.
That's right. Did you ever have contact with the Judenrat in the Vilna ghetto?
Yeah, they were in the
Did you know them personally?
Yeah, sure.
Do you remember the head of the Judenrat?
Gens.
Gens.
Yeah.
How did you feel about Gens?
He was from Lithuania, real Lithuania. How did I feel? His wife was not Irish, it was Polish, a Lithuanian. He was a general.
Yeah, Jakob Gens.
Yeah, in the army. What can I tell you? He tried the best. What I think, what I saw, when he when they told him that they need 20,000 Jews, he had to give them, deliver them.
Also the police
He
force.
wanted that the ghetto should be even with 20 Jews, but to go out with the Jews, to keep the ghetto. That's why I think this was his system, his mind.
And the Jewish police, how did you
Jewish police was Jewish police because you had to have the Jewish police. I never saw a German. I didn't see Kittel, who finished the ghettos. Maurer, I saw him once because I was singing on a concert. The choir was singing, they were sitting in front, my brothers were there. And I saw them the first time because when they had to go in the ghetto, nobody except the police was working. They could shoot. So to the window, I didn't go to the window, I was scared. And in the backyard, I didn't see them. So I never saw them, just to the concert and by the liquidation from the ghetto. Because the ghetto had to be clean when the Germans came in.
Mm-hmm. Before we go, let's talk about the Vilna Ghetto, because there was an incredible life that was established. Schools started.
Youth club, I belonged to the youth club.
Who headed the youth club? Do you remember the name of the person who started it?
It was, I forgot the name. Bernstein, I think. I think so. It was, they had to blow up the ghetto. But it was too early. They gave too early the okay.
The underground.
The underground.
The resistance.
The resistance.
Well, they found the man who was head of the resistance.
Right.
But they say Gens found the man. Okay, you don't.
So we belonged there, was conservatorium. I was in the conservatorium until they killed my teacher for 1 pound of green peas. They find by the door, by the walking in from work.
What was
They
the name
killed
of your
her.
teacher?
Luba Levitska. So it was the conservatorium. Then Miss Beckers, they were the solfeggio, not for the singing. It was a school, conservatorium. Was a youth a club. Was the partisans, the underground were working so unbelievable.
Did you have an underground newspaper in the Vilna Ghetto that you recall?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. They had schools.
Sutzkover, the poet.
Sutzkever? Yeah.
Sutzkever.
Sutzkever, yeah.
He was the head of the school, the high school.
Right, right. We had schools, we had conservatoriums, we had clubs, everything. I remember we were singing every night. We were singing on the balcony. You know, the girls with the boys together. The police came, they said, close the lights, you know.
Did you go to the schools, to any of the schools, any of the classes that were run in the ghetto? No, you just stayed with the singing group.
Yeah,
That was,
we were singing and what we were doing. Every day a different, every day. They grabbed 50 Jews and 100 Jews. Every day was something else. Every day.
so you stayed home?
I didn't go to work. Not me and my sister. And I was with her with the baby and I was with my friends. And every day was a different gzera, you know how you say, something.
So you were in fear all the time?
Oh, fear is enough, you know, that they said, once they said that they're looking for men, and a lot of men went in the basement, and some in the attic. So we didn't know that they're looking only for men. So I took my sister, me, the baby, we went to the basement. Went into the basement, and the baby started crying, and they wanted to put a pillow on him. I grabbed my sister, and I said, this is it, we are going. Not going to let to kill 100 men because of the baby. We're going out. We walked out. They didn't look for the women. We walked out. I hold the baby on my arms, and we walked by. This was from Estonia. These soldiers, police. They didn't look. We walked by. We went up to the apartment.
So you could have saved all the men there by just walking
right,
out?
Right. I said, no, they're going to go. They want to. He was crying. I said, they're going to. What are they going to do? They should get killed, all the people, because of the baby of me and my sister. So we walked out. And then once I was in the attic hiding because I signed the name that I want to go out from the ghetto. I never went out from the ghetto. I wanted to go to work. So my brothers didn't let me, so I didn't go. And I had to, because I didn't go to work, my name was there. I hid it in the attic. My sister was then pregnant. And she started screaming, let me out, my sister. We were about 200 people. Let out my sister. I want my sister. They let me out. And they took away the 200 people. I walked out, and from the other side they took away the people.
Mazal.
Every day was something. It was horrible.
What was food like?
I had three brothers. So they went out to work and they brought in the pans. We had to wash the meat and the potatoes, 3 men, and I had my nephew too. So we had not bad, But it was terrible. A lot of people, I remember, I went every Sunday to where my brothers worked in Napoleon Palace, and I brought for my girlfriend, she's now the president from United Jewish Appeal in Paris since 1946, Pesela Garber, and I went to the Napoleon Palace to take wood. She should be warmed. She had older parents, and we helped each other. She had an interview now. She came, when my husband died. She came here for 10 days. She had an interview with him, like when I was sitting there in United Jewish Appeal, and she mentioned everything about me.
So you're thinking about other people, not just your family.
Yeah, we
Everyone
helped each other. We helped each other, sure. I have a girlfriend, she always, they had a grocery with the parent, the mother, with the mother-in-law. She helped too, a lot of people. My girlfriend was alone with a baby, they helped. But the fear what we got through, every day, every second day was less and less. Here they need 20,000 and here the 1,000. Was 2 ghettos. You know what happened? When we went in the first ghetto, wasn't Shabelsky?
1 minute. We're going to take that ghetto story in the next. Tape 3, July 24th, 1995, interview with Lea Pilecki. Would you describe to me the two ghettos?
It was 2 ghettos, the first ghetto was an Yiddish Gassi, very narrow streets too, and they took out and they killed the people. Most people, I don't know how many thousands people they killed from the first ghetto. When it was the yellow shines, who had yellow a selection, who didn't have the yellow shines, they hid it, a lot of them in the ghetto. And the people where they had the shines, we walked out through the door, through the, was a...
Fence, the fence.
Yeah, the fence. And my brother had, his wife was killed, and he was a partner with, he was a glove book. So he had a partner he had a shoe store. So Pertskovich from Lithuania, very intelligent people, and he worked with them together. So when they took him away, the wife, Sonia, was with 3 children, Lisa and Sonia, with two daughters and a little boy. So he put her name, like a wife, on the shine with the children, and I was a daughter to him too. One daughter, she was my sister, Lisa. She was the most gorgeous girl. She's in Atlantic City, from the ghetto. She was younger than me. So I was about 15, 16, about 15. She was maybe 13. So when we went through the Germans, and we went 1 man, again with so many women. So the minute, and her mother, we put a fax, And we put her a hat. She should look older. She was a beautiful woman and such big girls. And we made braids, you know, me and Lisa. And he walked over the gym. The was Weiss over Kid over Murer. Wie alt sind die Töchter? So my brother was beautiful speaking German. He says 14, 14.5 and 15.5.
So 14 and a half,
A
15 and a half.
second, 1 second he would push us to the left. We got through. Would you believe it? That we went into the second ghetto. Don't you think we opened up, you know, in ghetto we made a hiding place. We had the big credences like this and opened up the doors on the bottom. We closed the door from the other room, the last room, and when it was something, a pogrom or something looking for us, we went there. But they didn't know from the beginning, the Germans. But naturally, eventually, they knew by the end. So we had this in our apartment. We walked in the second ghetto, we see the same credence, and my brother walked in, the youngest brother walked in, he saw my girlfriend with the baby. She was hiding there. My friend is in Los Angeles. They killed her, the baby. So we took her back when we went back after a few days to the ghetto, we took her back. She was hiding there.
So she now joined your group.
She was with then she found her husband in the ghetto. He came back. He was working in the chimneys, and they took him to jail. So but we find her there. So we came back again, and it was worse and worse. People were sick and dying and taking every 2 weeks something selections. Unbelievable. And then they made it to close the ghetto.
This was 1943?
43.
So you were there almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
What happened when they closed the ghetto? What, personally?
We didn't, the gangs took us, everybody from the ghetto. We weren't already too many people, you know, were killed little by little. So, and it called us in the backyard, in the Arbeiter, you know, in Judenrat, and he told the story that they want to close the ghetto. He wants to try with 50 people, but to come out from the ghetto. But he went by himself to the SS. He gave himself up. It was all gangs or the ghetto. And he gave himself up. And he closed down every ghetto. He gave himself up.
At what point did they find out about the resistance at the Vilna Ghetto before it closed?
They find out about the resistance?
Yeah. When they shot the head of the resistance.
Ah, he got dressed like a woman.
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell the story?
Somebody told them. Was Wittenberg.
Wittenberg, right.
And he got dressed, he was the biggest in the resistance. And somebody gave him out. They got dressed like a woman.
They say it was Gens. You don't believe it was Gens?
I don't know. Because I know that sometimes Gens helped. He knew about the resistance. He knew that they're going out. Because they came to me, 2 men, 2 friends, and they said, Lekar, let's go. But my sister didn't have a baby. And I wouldn't leave them, my family. And I stayed with my sister and with my family. I would never leave her. I couldn't go. They came, Benoshas came, and they were begging me. So he knew about this. Nobody could say that he didn't know. This was going on for 2 years almost.
That's right. Tell me now about the day that they decided to close the ghetto. Where did you go? Where was your family at that point?
We were in the ghetto, in the apartment. A few days before, they said that they didn't know that the closing for sure, that the ghetto. My brother, Itzik, and my brothers took care of I told you that Nadia was a wife to him. They wanted to go to Warsaw, run away, but she didn't want to go neither. So they went out from the ghetto, my sister. I had the baby with the mother-in-law, and Moses, the oldest brother, and Abrasha was there. And they went out, my sister-in-law, the girlfriend, my brother had a girlfriend, and my sister, and they went to Polaks to see what's going on, and if everything is all right, they're going to come in. Went to the Polaks. When they closed the ghetto, I was sure that they are free. The Polacks gave them out.
They gave them up.
We were sitting until the last people hiding under the credenza. 50 people in this room. Until they start screaming that they're going to bomb, ruin all the buildings. Get out. And we went out. We were there 3 days.
Where?
In the apartment, in the hiding room.
In the hiding.
And the Germans start screaming that they're bombing, they're ruining all the houses. Out. They knew that people are hiding. We went out. I was holding the baby because the mother-in-law for my sister was with asthma. She wasn't so old, was there about 50, but she was asthma, a tall woman. I was holding my brother, my nephew. I had a boyfriend there with a mother, with a sister, with another brother, was an engineer, both of them, and 50 people. We were the last ones. Music was playing through the ghetto. They were kicking us, and I had a baby on my arms. And they took us on Rosa. It was a door, how to say, a hill and a valley.
A valley.
On Rosa district. And they took us there, and they separated right away the men from us. Was a lot of people hiding still there, but we went out. And they took away the men, and we were the women, and the hospital with the crazy, with the sick were laying there in the valley. And was drizzling, and I had the baby. And everybody says, Lea, what are we going to do with the baby? So we're going to go to the concentration camp. I'm going to say, this is my mother, and she's going to watch the sitting and talking. And I say to her, Schwieger, we called her Schwieger, mother-in-law, all of them, the whole house. And a whole night, they brought from the other side, the men were bringing food. They made fire, and the Germans was watching. And he was crying, the baby. And the woman, the lady, but my brother took her for a wife. She was crying with 3 children. And I said to her, Lisa wasn't, she went out. She had a boyfriend, and he took her out from the hospital. She was in hospital, she was lucky. And he was screaming, the baby, Eja, Eja, he called me Eja, Fischele hat Meja, Fischele, that he is scared. And it was drizzling, and my brother sent a little, and they took the wood from the man brought the wood, my brother wrote a few words, Lea, watch the baby. And I made on the German was sitting and said, what a hübsches Junge. That's I'll go with him to the concentration, I'll go to work. Sitting a whole night in the morning. It was a big hill. In the morning, we didn't know what's going on upstairs, outside. Never, but my girlfriend, what she is the president from United Jewish Appeal, she went to the left. They took her to the left. She was upstairs with the mother, with the sister. She ran away from the left, and she came down to me, and she says, Lea, please, Lekele, they're taking away, you're going to go to left. I said, what do you mean left? She said, they're taking away the mothers with the children. It's not your child. Give it to the mother-in-law. I said, you crazy? She's a sick woman. She's going to take the clothes with the food. And everybody, Lea, what are you going to do with the baby? Over there is a left, right. We walked up the hill. If you would ask me, it's 50 years, I don't remember what happened with the baby. I didn't give away the baby. I didn't leave the baby. But I was working with the Schwieger, with the mother-in-law. It was a terrible healing process. And I don't know, when you walked up the hill and you saw so many soldiers, and so many Germans, and left, right, I don't know what happened. I must to give her the baby. I don't know. I was with the bag, with the clothes, with the food. And I was with the girls to the right. And over there they were beating them to the left. Until this day, I went to doctors. I don't know.
It's a blank. You just can't. So now you're in the right.
I'm on the right. Over there were terrible. They were beating them, kicking them. They took us to the cattle trains. We were by 800 girls to the right. All my girlfriends, but I'm here with them. Took away my girlfriend ran away, the parent, the mother pushed her out, and she took the baby. One girlfriend was in a bag, the baby. She kept it in Chayla. And I didn't know. We didn't know that she stands there with us, and the baby, the boy, is in the bag. We went to the cattle trains. Went in the cattle trains. She was with us. Didn't know that yet. Then when we went in and everything was closed, who took care of us? Ukrainian, dvonku Ukrainians, with knives. She had the baby in the bag. She opened up the bag. 3 days we were traveling in the cattle trains. The Ukrainians were drunk. Throwing in the walked over went in the cattle trains. We were maybe 50, 60, one on each other. Somebody went on my nose with a heel. We went to Lithuania. I didn't know where. They let us out to go outside first. You know, somebody said, Lea, your sister is here. I said, what do you mean my sister is here? She said, your sister is here, and girlfriend is here, and Itzik's girlfriend is here. I started crying, what am I going to do? I don't have the baby, my sister is here. My sister was crying that Zaik was killed because of the baby. 3 days, after 3 days, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, must have been. They brought us in a new concentration camp, a new one, Kaiserwald in Riga. New barracks, everything. And they pulled us out, the Germans. We saw the new barracks. They pushed us in the barracks, we didn't go in. So I met my sister there. We hold each other, she didn't answer, asked me nothing. They beat us up a whole night, blood and sand. We didn't go into the barracks. Why didn't we? Because we were scared that in the ceiling is the gas.
You knew about the
We
fact.
heard already,
You heard
sure.
already.
As in the ceilings is gas. So they beat us a whole night. American one. Then it came Polish boys. They worked there and they said, listen, dziewczynki, nie ma gazu tutaj. It's no gas, you'll work here. Don't be afraid to go in. Gonna work here. We're working too. They took us some, so we went in the morning. It was not different to us. We were so beat up and dirty. The hell with this, we went in.
They didn't take you through the showers and like another camp?
Yeah, then.
They did.
From the big tent, but we went into the barracks. Each had the bed belonged to the
So
barracks.
before you went to the barracks, you already had these showers, they shaved?
No, we went into the barracks.
Okay.
They didn't shave that they had then. They shaved us later in a different camp, Kasernierung. You know what's a Kasernierung? That they send us out from the main camp to a working camp. So.
Now we're in the middle of 1943?
1943.
About the middle
Yeah.
of the year, okay.
Yeah, they closed the ghetto. I was, I think, 18 years old. 18 years old. The 22nd of September. The 23rd of September, they closed the ghetto. I remember, I don't remember, I'm 70 years old, so I think I was about 18 or 17, because before, when they closed the ghetto, I asked my brother, Moses, who knows where I'm going to be 18 or 19? He says, Mama, you're so young, you're going to have a long life. So I remember this was the 22nd, and the 23rd they closed the ghetto. And the 24th we were on Wasser. This I remember very good. So we went in there to Kaiserwald and they gave us a new concentration camp. Went in, I saw the girls from the ghetto, from Vilna, the ghetto. The men were separate, 100 men. What happened? I heard in the kettle train, I heard that a Wapnik won out before Panar. And we went, they took us through Panar. Before Panar, the train slowed down. So we were sure that this is it, that they're going to kill us. My brother, they broke 2 men, broke the fires from the window before Panar, and they ran away.
So those were your 2 brothers?
My brother, with a friend.
Which brother?
Itzik,
Itzik.
Second. He lived until he was 80 in Atlantic City. He ran away, was laying in Panar a whole night, in the morning, a whole day. In the night, in the morning, he ran away to Kailis, was from 4, a factory. They didn't touch them, the Jewish people. Kailis. He knew that over there he has to go. He went there, he catched my cousins, and they went for hiding. The cousin had a place, and they took my brother too. He had a few dollars. In the morning, in the daytime he was hiding. In the night he went out to the girl to take clothes. The girl, but she had the baby, Renia, what was by us for a few years. She had all the clothes for my brothers. Everything they left her because she took our apartment when they took us out to the ghetto. So he went there. Each time she gave him a 4 coat from the brothers had coats, underneath with 4, here for, and she sold it for them, and he came there at night for the money. Once they catched him that this is a Wapnik, a Jew, they beat him up. And he was hiding, find him almost dead. Whenever my brother went out, he was with him, in back of him, watching him. 8 people were hiding there. He was here, the Polish guy, they brought him here. All the 8 people, they took care, all the life on them. He died from vodka. He was here. Imagine, so they told me that my brother left, run away from the. So I was with Nadia in the camps. I was there. It wasn't over there. I didn't want to stay because they were usually went to a different place because this was the main place with all the Germans, with all the beating. The men went to work. It was a German man, ISS X, XX, a very handsome German, healthy man. He took 100 Jewish men. He came with 80. He'd wound them every day, 10, 5, over there. There was a cover, a blitz girl, a blitz maiden, a SS girl cover. She beat us the hell out of us. This was something unbelievable. I got sick with the sinus there.
With
the sinus. I got
sinus.
sick with the sinus there. I worked in a basement from bad potatoes to take out the good potatoes, and I was sick with the sinus. So I was afraid to go to the doctor, to the men. But once I couldn't resist. They were hiding me, and they made my norm, They were hiding me with straw, the girls, because I couldn't work, the sinus. So I went once to the doctor, to the man. What did I do? She says, what has to here?
What do you have here?
Maybe a little paper we put, make like red, young girls. I said, gar nichts. She gave it to me. They told immediately my sister to spit me out. This was something, a devil, a devil. So everybody was looking to go out from this concentration camp. So they gave us, they took out, I was singing there. Somebody said that I'm a singer. So they called me in the Lagerfeuer at 5159, out. This was my number.
Were you branded at Kaiserwald?
What?
Did they brand you
No.
at Kaiserwald?
No,
but this was your number at
they
Kaiser.
had here on the dress, 5159. My sister was 5158. I should go out. They took us to the Entlausung. They took us for, I was running away with a group to go out from this camp. They took they took my sister. And he didn't let me go. Because I was a singer. Once I was singing twice, for the prostitutes, the capos, they had a room, the German girls, but they were in camp, in the concentration camps in Germany. Then they became the capos over us. So they had a room there, and they asked me, they called me and I should sing. I said, I know only in Jewish. And I was singing the Vilna Poland in Jewish. So the Lagerfeuer knew that I was a singer, and I went in, like they took my sister, I went in with her. They took off the clothes, they gave us, a shower with everything, and he came. And he says, 5159, out, raus from the shower, all naked, Tina, with the shoes in the hand. Was machst du hier? I says, please, my sister is here. She lost a baby, she lost a husband, on the knees, naked. Please, and it was a German couple. She was a Lagerfeuer, Blockfeuer, a German girl. And I says, please, let me go with her. Please, she doesn't have nobody. On the knees. So Gerda said, lassen Sie. He let me, in 2 weeks he's going to uphold. 2 Wochen, he's going to uphold me. And I went there. I went to AEG, Allgemeine Elektrische Gesellschaft.
Oh, IGA.
Yeah.
It was the factory?
Yeah, it was one of the biggest Allgemeine Elektrische. So we worked there. It was one Blitzmädel, one girl, SS girl, Emma. And we worked at night on very hot machines, heavy machines. We made from a powder, we made the appliances to put in the light, We worked at night. They shaved our hair, until they came the men. We didn't see, we were without men, 800 women, no men. They called us the Monastir, no men. And then one day it came 3 men with a truck, and the men had like this shaved, We didn't know we didn't see men, so I walked over and said, who are you? It was sure that they're getting us for gas. It was before the Russians got stuck in one place, and they couldn't go to Riga. Mm-hmm. So then they killed 20,000 Jews in Riga. Because the Russians by Mitava, they got stuck. It was very cold. They couldn't, like this, we were saved 20,000 Jews in Riga. So they said to but what I forgot.
You were in the factory?
I was in the factory, yeah. And they said it's...
the man, why
yeah,
was
what
there?
are you doing here? Who are you? They said, the Jewish man, we're going to shave your hair. I walked over to the girls. There were 800 girls. I says, it's nothing. They're going to shave our hair. And my hair was gorgeous hair. I went the first one, me and my niece. They shaved our hair. This was for girls a terrible thing. But we put on kerchiefs and we went to work again. They beat us up. You know what happened? They gave us dresses. You know, the stripes. It was big and it was terrible, so we cut the dresses. New Year's, we were working a whole night. We cut the dresses. We made nice, you know, the length. Somebody told them, the Oberscharführer in Kaiserwald, and he came. And he beat us up. It was blood all over in the rooms. Somebody told us we were cutting the dresses, you know, just short on it. You can imagine the beating what we got there. We didn't have food so much, but it was clean. Without men, you know, was hard because the men went out, you know, so they helped a little. But we had clean, not typhus then. We didn't. But we worked hard. We didn't have food. This was.
The soup and the bread and...
Yeah, we didn't. But we had a German Jewish woman, a lager älteste, for Naftali. And we had her, we were there a year, and then they took us out. The Russians.
The Russians came?
No, they took us out to Stutthof by boats, 3 nights.
On the Baltic?
To Stutthof, to Gdańsk, Gdynia.
Gdansk.
By the canal. 3 nights and 3 days we were sure that they're going to dump us in the water. No food. We were drinking the salt water from the ocean. They brought us to Stutthof. Stutthof, we met Andy Bolts, we met all the Vilna from Estonia. All my girlfriends, all my friends from ghetto, but they survived, were on the boats. Took us to Stutthof.
Let's now deal with Stutthof in the next tape. Thank you. Tape 4, July 24th, 1995, interview with Lea Pilecki. You're now arriving at Stutthof by ship, by boat.
Yeah, by
Continue.
boat, by kettles. We came to Stutthof.
How many were you?
We were by 800 girls.
800 women.
Yeah.
And others were coming, as you said,
Others
from
from
Estonia.
Estonia, from all the places where we were separated.
Right.
In Kaiserwald, they separated us.
Right.
Everybody went to work in some places. So we went to Stutthof. And the couples, the minute we walked in, we were young, beautiful girls, still without hair, but we were young. You know, when you're young, you take, even in the ghetto, here they kill the Jews, and next morning we had to go for food, and the men had to go to work, and the women, and the life went on. That's it. This was our life. Fear, and every day, like a finger they cut off. Every day something they took away from us, parts from my life, from our life. So we went into Stutthof.
What time of year was this?
This was in, to tell you the truth, I was in Stutthof about 3 months, and I was liberated 3 months in Torun.
About November? It was cold?
I was.
When you arrived at Stutthof?
It was cold, yeah.
So around November, I would think.
I think so, because I was liberated in January the 16th.
Right. So November.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were wearing when I was singing, for Naftali gave me boots. Boots, she gave me. So I gave it to my sister. You know, I was like the oldest one. She would never survive without me. She was a very quiet woman. She didn't know how to steal a potato. I didn't know too. I always got smacked. I didn't know how to, you know, they grabbed me always. They catched me, a potato. She was very quiet, so I gave her the boots. We came in Stutthof, and you know what they did, the couple? They took us in separate bunks, you know. She put him from the toilet, you should excuse me, and 3 in the beds. And she says, oh, you look good. You'll see how you're going to look next week. She looked us through with
A magnifying glass?
no, but I like now I'm excited to look if we have a ring or something in the mouth with
Like a pick? A metal?
no, but it's lightening
Oh, like an electrode? Like
the
to feel the metal?
a flashlight.
Oh, I'm sorry. Flashlight.
Sorry, I'm sorry. No, she looked us through. She took us every day. She took off from us. We put on in the Kaiserwald when we went in Riga. We took 2-3 pair panties on ourselves. Every day she took us off from us. She put us away like this on the appeal. Wait, I have to show it to you. I have to show you. Like this, for 8 hours. How many hours could you sit? I have to show it for you. Until they fainted. We didn't work there, just standing, cold, in rain, and you know the women was cold here, so we were one to the other like this. 8 hours, 10 hours, from 4 o'clock in the morning.
Did they brand you in Stutthof?
No.
They did some women, no.
It was a gas chamber in Stutthof.
Right.
And we didn't work. I didn't have shoes. My girlfriend went, the girl from Paris was working by shoes. She brought me clumps, you know the clumps?
The clogs.
Yeah.
The Holland clogs.
Yeah. But I want to tell you that from Torun, I was in AEG there. But we went to, I forgot to tell you, by foot from Torun to Berlin. I'm going to tell you later. So they did no work. It was a gas chamber. 7 o'clock they closed the light. And every day for 3 months, left and right. If you had a pimple, they put you to, and you couldn't hold hands. I said to my sister, Nadzinke, don't hold my hand. They knew it's family. And she was scared. Don't hold my hand, because you go like this, and the left. Thank God we had clean bodies, and we got through the few months. And after
They had the roll call in the morning that
they
they
had
made
a
you stand?
firing, electric firing, except Sunday wasn't fired. And we walked out. It was terrible. You can imagine, not to do nothing and stay outside. They didn't let us in the toilets, in the bathrooms. Everybody has diarrhea with blood. So we ate the coal, from the wood. And when they Germans saw a couple it's black, took us to the gas chamber. I was maybe like this. I had diarrhea. They couldn't go in the bathrooms in the daytime. So what did we do? A few girls were standing around and making from the sand. You go. Then they took us selection. So one Sunday, my sister was very, very sick with an appendix, and we were scared to take her. She was fainting on Sunday, when she didn't. So I took a walk. My sister was laying down, and I took a walk to the girls, and I said, oh, the virus I heard that somebody is calling, Liesinke. Turn around, I see my girlfriend's mother is alive. I said, Yankel, what are you doing here? She says, I work in the kitchen. Come in, I'll give you a little soup. This was dead. Me stupid, I pick up the wire, and I cross like this. And the wire came to my sweater, and I'm very superstitious. And I said, why did I go? And the minute I just crossed over, and I hear like somebody said, Kuda ty idешь, ty еврейская kurva? Where are you going, you Jewish fool? She picked me up, and she smacked me like this, but was not allowed to make close your face. they got wild. So we knew that we have to stay. I was so skinny. I was bleeding with diarrhea for months. Until I saw like she was beating me and I was bleeding in my ear. I saw that there was a girl that her mother had a fish store. And I said to myself, I think that if she goes to the same woman, she's going to save me. If she grabs her, but I fainted. So my sister ran out to my girlfriends, and they put water on me, and I said, when I woke up, I said, that is Rushke the Fischer's daughter. They grabbed her? They said, yeah. I said, she saved me. She was a healthy, beautiful girl. But I was busted the hearing when it was bleeding. And it took a long time, and it smelled unbelievable. But God was good to us, that they took us in a different place. They sent us. A German came, the same German that I was in Torun, and we worked by cables, you know, and he took us a few hundred women, and they took us to Torun.
How do you spell that, Torun?
Torun, T-O-R-U-N.
Still in Germany?
In Poland.
In Poland?
Yeah. And the minute I went there, I went to the doctor, was a Polish doctor, Bolek, and he looked at me and says, here is busted. It's very scarred. So he put the peroxide and the pus, and thank God he healed me. But whenever I come here to a doctor, and he looks my ear, says, what is it? I never saw such a scar. We went there. She beat me up. I don't know how I survived. I don't know, for the little soup. We went in Torun, there. We was there for a few months. We worked by cables. By cables, you know. We fixed cables. And then the Russians came. We didn't know, were running. We were 3 months there. And they said the Lagerfeld was terrible there. But it's better than Stutthof. We worked. The Russians came, and a few girls wanted to run away. And I held the wires, and I said, you want to go? 10 girls. And I said, I'm not going. I don't know where. I'm going with the girls. I stay there, and I'm going to go with them. So they run away, a few girls. And we went, they took us on foot to Berlin. 50 below zero. In clump, you know the Holland shoes, from Holland, the shoes with the wood? Yes. The snow was on the wood, I couldn't walk. In Stutthof, I was begging my sister, Nadia, sell the shoes, the boots. Come on, we'll have a piece of bread. I couldn't keep hunger. My sister could be hungry. I said, sell it, they're going to take it off. Don't you think they took off boots from her? I gave her my other shoes, my shoes, and I was wearing the two. We walked. You can imagine the cold. There was a few girls with typhus, so we had to carry them on little wagons.
How many were you?
We were 800.
800.
And then the girls, where they were laying on the wagons, died, got frozen. They left them. So the same time when we were going on foot, from Hungarian girls were 2 walking. And they killed them, the Germans. We didn't know that the Russians came so fast. So they killed the girls, the Hungarians. They were only a year in the concentration camps. This was Polish, Bydgoszcz, and we spoke Polish, so we were working. 7 o'clock in the evening, I think it was in the evening, the Russians came in, the Germans ran away, and we were standing in the middle in Bydgoszcz, and we didn't know where to go. This was the 16th of January. So everybody starts running away. My sister, she goes. We were wearing not striped clothes, regular clothes. In the back and the front was a Jewish star. But it was women, what they were wearing you know, in the stripes. So the other women ran away from them. They were scared. Where we were running, I don't know. So we were walking, it was about 7 o'clock, and we go in, and I see a man is standing outside, and we are 4 girls. Walking, when I was walking, I heard that somebody is sighing in a backyard. When I walked with my sister-in-law, I said, somebody is sighing, must be from our girls. So she said, don't go. I walked in, and I find the head nurse from the surgeon's surgery in Vilna, Madame Rachel, a head nurse in the surgery by Dr. Mechede, she was frozen on her toes. But she had a suit with the stripes. My sister ran away from us, and I was walking with her. I says, Madame Rachel, I'm not going to let you go. And they were in the front, and I was walking with her, and I see a man is standing, and I walked over, and he says, who are you? In Polish. And I said, by the way, we are Jewish. My sister was Gewalt, what a mouth, she has a big mouth. You know that when I was in Stutthof, I forgot the place. So we had a friend, she was a couple from my hometown, a Jewish girl. I have to tell you, she walked over at 10 o'clock at night, 9:30, after a day rain, wet, we walked in. 51, 59 raus. My sister says, where are you taking her?
9:50 at night.
Yeah. Where are you taking her? She didn't answer. So my sister says, oh, my sister has a big mouth to the couples. Oh, my God. Don't you think she took me away? She didn't tell my sister where she's taking me. And I got through the woods. And I said to her, you know what? Why didn't you tell Nadia, my sister, where I'm going? To the woods. She didn't answer. She took me in a barrack. All my girls across the street, she lives here, are laying on the floor. Before they took them to a different concentration camp, the girls, the couples wanted to dance, and I should sing. I was so sick with diarrhea. I see all the girls, my friends, and my girlfriend from Paris. She was telling a story, a jokes, and I was singing, and they were dancing. A whole night. My sister almost wanted to kill herself. We're walking back. I said, why didn't you tell my sister? She's giving me a piece of bread, and I throw the bread, and I said, if it's going to be a world, you're not going to be alive. She had typhoid, she died. So now I'm sorry what I'm telling you, but I had to tell you. So we walked over to the man. He says, I have a sick woman, a wife, without a leg. If she's going to let you in, I'm going to go out to tell you. So he walks in and he says, okay. We walked in, a beautiful woman was laying in bed without a leg, gave us a place on the floor, and we slept over 4 o'clock in the morning. Was knocking, the Germans came back. He said the German came back. He threw us out. But my sister left him a watch, and my sister left him a watch they had on the table, and he put us in a toilet, in a bathroom, but it was ice, no water. This wasn't the Germans. They were looking for the water was freezing. And we were standing 4, scared, without hair. And the boy opened up the door and he got scared. He was screaming. He threw us out. We should go. This woman can't walk. And we're going in the middle of the street and they're killing the Hungarian girls, shooting. And the Polish boys are saying, Vyzhdovetsky, Jewish girls. I said, where can we go? Where is the hospital? I have to take her. And I took her to the hospital. My sister went with my sister-in-law. I lost them. And this man, a Polish guy, says, come on, I'll take you to Bilavkach over there. I went in a stable and I find 12 girls, my sister, my sister-in-law, all the girls, German girls, in the stable, hiding. Was still the Germans were there. So then they said the Germans are not there. So I says, I want to go in and sleep in the house. It's a house. So my sister said, no, you're not going to sleep there. So I slept in the stable. In the morning, I walk out and I see like bears, you know, white bears. This was the Russians. And they asking me, I had a big mouth, it's true. I was all over. Who are you? I says, I'm Jewish, Evreika. They were sure that we are spies. They never saw a Jewish face for thousands and thousands of miles.
How did they treat you?
Don't you think that my sister-in-law she spoke Russian perfect. We pushed her out with all the hair. We pushed her out and she explained everything. They left us, the Germans, in the street. They didn't believe us. But they gave us apartments, they gave us food.
This is in Bydgoszcz?
Bydgoszcz. And that's what the end.
Okay, so how long did you stay in Bydgoszcz?
Oh, we stayed a few weeks because I worked on the airport, because the Russians grabbed the Jewish people. They put on Siberia. We didn't have a license to work, so we went on the airport, me and my girlfriend, for the license for the 12 girls. We were 12 girls together. We never stayed alone. We were scared. And then the Russians started with us, but we were talking Russian. The girls, the German girls, they didn't speak Russian, so they raped them. So we helped all the German girls, we kept them together.
So you stayed here a few weeks, and where did you go?
And before the liberation in Stutthof, I said to myself, I'm going to die here, you know. I said, Nadia, tell me, to my sister, why don't you ask me how officially died? She never asked me. She never asked me. I said, tell me, why don't you ask me? Don't you think I don't sleep night sometimes? Why don't you ask me? I'm scared to tell you. Why don't you approach me? She says, Lea, you were such a little young girl. I walked out from the ghetto. I didn't know that I'm not going to come back, that they're closing the ghetto. We walked out. You stayed with the baby. And I couldn't tell her nothing. Until this day. I was with her. She lost her husband and she was sick. She died from cancer 4 months before my husband. I took her to Florida with my husband for therapy, so I took her with me. She never to give me I was afraid to approach her, to talk about this. And I told her that I don't remember. I think I gave it to the Schwieger, to the
nurse.
Never, she never asked me. Embarrassed me the whole life. But I don't remember.
You just have to make peace with it.
I never, I don't remember. I'm sure that I didn't leave him. That I know, because I had the food with the clothes, his clothes. It's always embarrassing. That's it.
So let's move forward. What happened after Bydgoszcz? Where did you go?
We stayed in Bydgoszcz a few weeks, and then we couldn't survive there with the Russians. I went to the airport. I worked there. I worked on sewing with my girlfriend. And all of a sudden I had to run away because I saw the nachalnik. I was afraid for them.
The Russians,
Yeah, for the main,
for the
from
head.
from the airport. Because, and then the Russians came in the middle night, they took us home from the airport and they wanted, Lisa, я хочу поспать. We had to run away. We run away on a train on the roof. All of us on the roof to lodge.
To lodge.
We had to run away from them.
And lodge,
Came to lodge. I lived on Zavatsky 12 girls.
all of you
Never,
stayed together.
Always. We were scared. And we didn't have food. We didn't have clothes. When my girlfriend went down, when I wanted to go down, I took her shoes. And when they left, they took my shoes. We didn't have clothes. We didn't have nothing.
Did the Jewish agency help you at
Yeah,
all?
yeah, it was the Kihile.
The
Gmina
Kihila.
Żydowska. Yeah. And I started working there singing. So they paid me.
How long did you stay in Lodz?
We came, I think from 45, a few months.
About April 45, the spring of 45?
Spring, we came to,
Lodz in the winter still? Was it still winter?
yeah,
So
it
maybe
was cold.
Maybe March 45. And how long did you stay in Lodz?
We stayed until I ran away from Lodz in September, I think.
Of the same year, of 45. You were still
Think
running. You
so.
were still trying to...
I think so. I got married there.
You met someone from Vilna?
We were 12 girls, and downstairs were 12 men from Lodz. Lodz came from the concentration camp. They helped us with food, and they gave us food. I left them, all of them, me and she was my niece then. Now, a little younger girl, we went to Vilna, to go to Vilna, and I left the 10 girls. We didn't have food, we didn't have nothing. So going to Vilna, we went to Bialystok. We stopped in Bialystok. And we wanted to go to Vilna. We had to go through Suwałki at Grodno. And Grodno was the border from the Russians. So they said, I didn't have where to stay, so we stayed in the Gmina Żydowska. It was in Bialystok, was a Jewish agency, but they took care of the people from the concentration camp. And I was sleeping there. We was entertaining them. They gave us food. I was there a month. And then the partisans came from the woods. And from Vilna, they said, Lea, I met my friends. They said, Lea, your brother is alive when he's coming, go to Lodz. Keep the apartment, your brother and the nephew.
Which brother?
Itzik.
Itzik was alive.
But he was hiding, was like a Polak, and So he came. That I should go back home and watch the apartment to Lodz.
Right.
So I went back. I came there. They cooking dinner. They have a business, and the people, the boys are coming to eat, and they paying them. They had a restaurant in the apartment. We didn't have any food. And then I was standing, everybody left, I didn't have shoes. So I was looking through the window, I didn't know the place, and I hear somebody saying, Lutvachke, you are Lutvak? This was my, and I said, yeah. He says, you're not your sister? I says, yes, I liked my sister. I couldn't go out, I was ashamed to say that I don't have shoes. So then he came up to us in the evening, and he says, you want to go out tomorrow to Balut? He lived in Balut. In Lodz was Balut, a place there, like a community there. I said, oh, if I put by Sarah, I took the shoes and I went with him out to Balut. They always helped us with food, and they gave us wood, the boys. And I was waiting till my brother came and I got married. And the same time, my nephew, my other brother, but he's alive, wanted to get, I didn't let him go to Palestine without a wedding. So I got married and then I took them under the chuppah.
What was your first husband's name?
Israel.
Israel?
Israel, yeah.
And his
Srolik.
Verständig.
Verständig. Yeah.
Israel Verständig.
Yeah.
So he was also from Vilna originally?
No, he was a Lodz.
From
Lodz.
Lodz
he was
originally?
from a very religious family. The father died from hunger in Lodz. He was writing the Torah. And they were very religious with it. And after the war, he changed. He was in Russia and Siberia, so everything changed his life. He shouldn't get married. He never got married again. We were very good friends. I felt sorry. He wasn't a family man. He was something happened during the war, very honest and a very handsome man. He was on the black market, something. But he got through plenty too, you know. We had to run away from Poland. They were killing Jews too. We went like Greeks. My brother paid the gun. He paid a lot of money.
Itzik?
Yeah, that we should go to run away.
You're going to go to Palestine?
To Palestine, to go to Italy first. So we went through Vienna, in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and we came to Italy. Right. In Italy, I was in a kibbutz from the musicians.
Right. Where was that?
First I was in Milano. I was in Cremona.
First in Cremona?
Yeah.
First in Cremona. And what was this, a DP camp that you stayed?
DP camp, yeah.
Now, was it apartment buildings?
No.
It was a real camp?
Yeah, rooms. We had rooms.
You had rooms in Cremona?
Yeah.
How many Jews were there?
I don't remember.
Lots? Many?
Sure, they came
Hundreds?
more and more.
More and more collected
Yeah.
in Italy. Now, this was part of an Irgun
We came and
function?
we stopped there, and then we went to go to Italy. To
Milano.
To Milano.
From Cremona to Milano. And then
In Milano, I got a job, and I went in Kibbutz Omanut from the musicians.
Omanut?
Yeah, musicians Omanut.
The orchestra.
Yeah.
Kibbutz Omanut.
Yeah.
All right.
We traveled around for the
Where were you in Milano? Do you remember the address?
I was I came to Italy in 1945.
The end of 45?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember your address in Milano, where it was? What area of Milano?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It was not in the city. It was a kibbutz.
It was out of the city?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Run by the Irgun?
No.
No. Jewish agency?
Yeah.
Okay. But only for musicians?
This was from the American Jewish Agency.
The Joint?
Joint, sure. They sent
Okay.
us the food and the everything, clothes.
Okay.
And then I went to
We Tape 5, July 24th, 1995, interview with Lea Pilecki. You said that you forgot something that happened
My
at
daughter
Stutthof
said
that
that
you
I
want to
forgot.
tell us.
I told you that you can't hold hands when we were in you couldn't hold hands. So they had to send away they separate them. We were outside. We didn't work in Stutthof. 14 hours, 10 hours, we didn't work. So the Hungarian girls came late. Gorgeous girls. They came the last ones. Young. It was a mother. We were standing on the appeal, in the morning. And it was a mother and daughter. And they wanted to hold hands, and they wanted to separate them. Tina, they couldn't separate them. It was sand on blood. They were walling, blood. They could, little, very short people, they couldn't separate them. We were crying, all of us, thousands and thousands of girls. They didn't separate them until they were dead. Couldn't hold hands. I always begged Nazis, don't hold my hand. Unbelievable. She remembers because I told her this story about this.
Your daughter wanted it in. It's important because it just shows what
Yeah.
you went through. And as you mentioned also, that fear was with you every second.
Fear was with me.
Didn't leave you the whole time.
Fear was with unbelievable. Unbelievable. Day and night, day and night. Day and night.
Let's get back to better, hopefully better times
Yeah.
for you. So you're now in Milano. You're singing.
Yeah.
You're with a group of Jewish musicians.
Yeah.
How
Two
long-
girls.
2 girls.
4.5 years. I was in Rome. 1 year in Milan and 3.5 years in Rome. Castel Gandolfo.
Castel Gandolfo.
Yeah.
And did you sang in Rome? Do you remember any places in Rome that you sang? Do you
We
remember
were
where?
traveling around.
Different nightclubs. Different
No, all the camps. The
Oh,
space
you
camp.
did it for the
Only
camps.
for the camps, only for the Jewish people. All over Italy. Tricaso, Santa Maria di Bagna, in all over. Where it's a camp was a displaced persons camp.
So you were there to keep the morale going.
Of course I was doing. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
sure. Then I was pregnant with Bella.
In Rome,
Yeah.
you gave birth to
Mil-
your
in-
daughter Bella in Rome.
Yeah, Castel Gandolfo, Marino, she was born. That's a few miles from Rome. Yeah.
You were in hospital
Yeah,
in Rome.
the nuns took Bella. The nuns.
The nuns were in charge. Yes,
Yeah.
they're good nurses.
Yeah,
Very good nurses.
yeah.
And you felt
But
comfortable.
very, very lonely. You know, the Italian people, they said they were screaming when they had the babies, you know, the mother was there and the father was there and sisters were there. And I was all alone, you know, and I didn't even scream, I didn't even, and the doctor says, look, in Italian, questa signora, no papà, no mamma, a sola, no piange. What are you crying so much? What are you screaming at me that I'm all alone, that I had a baby? You know, what shall I scream? What shall I cry? I was all alone.
You did not at that point have friends within the area that you lived that were part of your life.
Oh, sure.
But you felt the lack of your own
Sure,
family.
when you had a baby and, you know, I didn't, he was telling, the professor says, perché lei piange?
Why do you cry?
To me they said,
Yes.
I cried, but he screamed at them, why are you screaming so much? The mother was here, the father was here, you have everybody, here was a straniero.
A foreigner, stranger.
Yeah, all alone. She had a baby, nobody heard, nothing.
He understood. He
Yeah,
understood.
sure. I speak good Italian.
Yes, very nicely.
Yeah, I speak good Italian. And lately, nobody speaks so much.
And so your daughter, how long? So your daughter.
My daughter didn't know one word in Jewish, only Italian when she came to this country.
And you spoke to her in Italian as well.
I spoke Jewish,
You
but
spoke-
she was with in the camp, was a young Italian girl, and I was traveling around with the musicians. Now,
And what did your husband do while you were traveling?
over there, nothing in the kibbutz.
he was there.
He worked there in the kibbutz.
And your sister Nadia, where did she go?
I didn't know where I lost when I ran away from
Lodge.
lodge, and my sister and my brother was there, and I didn't know that my sister from Siberia, my Sonia, my sister. But I told you that she went to her brother-in-law because she was ashamed to have this. She didn't want to have the baby or something. That she's pregnant. She was ashamed that she is pregnant. She wanted to go. She didn't tell the mother-in-law. So she went there, and they grabbed her. She signed her name to go back to Vilna. So the Russians took her to Siberia. And she was there. She had a baby, but she was pregnant. She had typhus. There was no penicillin. The baby died. He had a pneumonia. And she was in Siberia there about 2 years, 3 years. And then when they were liberated, she was in Tashkent. She had another baby. This is the Isaac Zek Landstein, Shoshana's father. He was born in Russia. And I didn't know that she's alive, because in Vilna, when I was, and they took her away in Siberia, we sent her packages. We sent her packages there. And I knew that she's in Siberia, but I didn't know that she's alive. When they came to America, my brother-in-law had a brother here. So after the war, they came to Vilna and they took her here in 1946. 1946. They came here. 1940. I don't know, 1947, before me. But during when I was singing, they knew that they find out that I'm in Italy. And in the kibbutz, in the camp, the displaced person, every week was another girl, every day was another girl in the kitchen. And I was pregnant, and somebody comes from the city, that's immigration department. Don't you think I recognize my brother-in-law's handwriting? That they find me here, there in Italy, that I should come to America. To tell you the truth, I didn't want to go to America. Why? I didn't want to be a Jew. I wanted to be a person to Palestine with all the Jewish people. And I explained it to her in the letter, so she was, what do you mean? I left you a young girl and you're going to go to Cyprus to have the baby. I was pregnant. I'm not coming. I'm not going. I don't want to, I'm scared. Good enough. Came the Exodus boat, and I was in the 7th month. And it was Mr. and Mrs. Bernstein from Israel, from Palestine, and in the kibbutz. And I was dancing a horror, and the girls started going, don't dance, don't dance. And I was very little. Everything was in the back. They said, why can't she dance? My name was everything on Exodus to go to Palestine. They said, no, she's pregnant in the 7th month. They took me off the list. Everybody left from the kibbutz. There were a few families left, and then I came here.
When did you arrive in America?
1946.
1946. Okay, and you arrived in New York with your husband.
I had my sisters here.
Right.
So she gave me the apartment, her apartment. She opened up the luncheonette. She moved there over the luncheonette, and I had the apartment.
And you worked when you came here right away?
Immediately, 1 month.
What did you do?
I had pneumonia on the boat.
Oh, what boat? What boat did you come?
Mariam Patch. And I went immediately to work. I gave Bella to a nursery. And I gave her to a nursery, to a Hebrew nursery, I think. Gave her to a regular nursery. She had lies. Oh, gave her to a Hebrew nursery. She didn't speak Yiddish, only Italian, in the Hebrew nursery. And I went immediately, I read in the paper that somebody needs a finisher, sewing. So I went on Ostland Avenue. I told them that I don't know, I never worked. But if you're in the concentration camps, I was sewing on, I made gloves on a machine. If you show me, I'll learn. She says, oh, she's the only greener, but she tells the truth. Okay, come in.
So you got a job.
And I got a job. I was crying. She was screaming, and I went on the bus, and I was crying. I heard her. Unbelievable.
It's hard.
And I worked, and then I took in all the girls when they came from the camps to this. I worked piecework, and this boss was from Russia. The wife was an American. She kept the books. It was a small factory, but we worked for Malik Goldberg. We worked hand work, and the presses were Italian people, and they was crazy about me. That Jewish girl speaks Italian. I was speaking beautifully then Italian. It was tough. I took Bella with two buses, 6 in the morning, I took her out from the crib. But I was happy that I could go to work.
Your husband found work?
My husband was a peddler. He wanted to be a peddler. So it was tough for him too,
Definitely.
because a lot of boys, the Polish boys, became millionaires here. They died a few, but they knew my husband. They should rest in peace. He died 5 years ago. But he didn't go to work. It was enough for him. My boss wanted he should go, became a presser and save the money. No, didn't. He liked it. He was in Lodge too. He was on the black market. Yeah, he was here with all the peddlers, the friends from Lodge, from Polish. And I've worked.
You divorced in 1957?
I divorced him in 1957.
And then you took care of Bella on your own?
12 years.
12 years. And you married your second husband?
Yeah. He was a nice man. He was a very nice, honest man. But he shouldn't get married. I felt sorry for him. He never got married. I was begging him. I called him whenever I came to Florida. He moved out to Florida. Never said, never, Bella, one bad word. It's your father. Bella got married. Father takes you.
You had a good friendship. You understood.
I felt sorry for him all my life. You should get married. If not, take in a friend and have a friend in life. He died of 4 days. He was dead, Florida. When I came with my husband with the stroke, I called him up. And I said, "Sorry, why don't you get a woman, have a friend?" Begging him. He was dead at night. I go whenever I come there. I go to the cemetery. He doesn't have nobody. I feel sorry for him because he had a lonely life, something. Was a very religious kid, and all of a sudden, Russia was a nice man. Then I met. I was scared to get married. I had a little girl. It was tough. I had a good job. I worked by this man when he came in. He had for men's clothing. So after Bella was in the camps, the pay was $800 for the summertime. I had to go for another job. So after my factory work by Ben Zuckerman, I went to David, extra dollars, to make a living. And she was in the camps, gave her dancing and piano. And then I met Moish. He came to see his sister was dying. He wouldn't go.
Because he lived in Israel.
Yeah.
The war.
Yeah.
Also from Vilna.
He was from Vilna. My brothers knew him, and I knew his brothers. And he was looking in leader for his father, and they killed his father. He was looking for him. They grabbed him and they put him in Siberia. He was I told you, over there he's dead. So he made himself older, 4 years, and he went over. He said that I'm a mechanic. He knew his father had bosses a few. He knew the mechanics things. He said that I'm a mechanic from the tanks. So they took him in the Anderson's army, and he went to Egypt. And in Egypt he had the shrapnel in the forehead. He was in the hospital, so the colonel said to him, Moish, you're the only Jew. They're going to kill you. Go, take the gun and the Chanel, the uniform, and go. So he checked Yom Kippur, 1942, to Palestine, in Rehovot, and he's asking, where is here the Jews? Says it's Yom Kippur. So he went to Tel Aviv, and he went to the temple, and he told, I'm a Vilner, And the boys from temple said, you can't walk around in the Chanel because the English had demanded they're going to grab you. So they took him on a kibbutz, and they burned the clothes, and they gave him a horse, and he was watching the children in kibbutz. And then he went in the army. You know, Moshe was building the pipes on the desert, the water pipes. And he was 22 years there.
Long time. You married in 1965.
Yeah,
Here, in the
30
States.
years.
And you lived here 30 years together.
He was such a good father. You should see this stone. That's my best father. And these two children, he was crazy about them.
And your grandchildren.
Ah,
Could you tell me their names, your grandchildren?
Darren and Kenny. Doron in Hebrew,
Daron
that's a gift.
Mhm.
And Kenny,
and Kenny. How old is Kenny?
Kenny's 20, it's going to be 23. And
And-
Darren is 26. In May he was 26.
So you have a wonderful family.
Yeah, he graduated CPA, accounting, and now he went to law school for tax law. He works now in a firm from law firm for the summer. And Kenny is working and going to grad school, going in here. Good place. At night, tradition is by them nice. The telephone, taking shalom. Shalom, good boys. Tradition, they go to bed, they kiss the mother in forehead. I look at it. Made a good job.
Yes, you did. Let me ask you one last question that I usually ask. Why did you decide at this time in your life to do this tape?
Because I'm getting old. And nobody is interested. Everybody says it's a lot of bad people saying that's never happened. And this is my duty for my children and for the world. The fear, we are the last Mohicans. We are the last ones. Who's going to tell the story?
Thank you. Thank you.
The fear what we lived through, what we lost, the best in life, the best years. When we had teenage years, nothing. Fear, tears, every day somebody we lost. A piece from our body. People have to know it shouldn't happen. This is my duty, everybody's duty, what we got through. We are living, I don't know how we survived to have families like this, and what kind of generation. We survivors are living here, the second generation and the third. The best professionals, because the whole life was by us, the children.
That's true.
The children. Our life is already, I dance my dance. And everybody of each of our survivors have a child, a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, a this, something professional and something good. Unbelievable. Because this is our life. And they have, the world has to know. I never believed, Tina. I always said when people liberated, it's going to be love. It's worse than it was 50 years ago, the hate from people to people. When I see the children sick on the television, I close my eyes. The whole world hates each other, worse than 50 years ago.
True.
It's something unbelievable. What kind of hate it is in this world?
Hopefully your tape will help people
I
understand.
can't believe it. It's getting worse and worse. I swear, like today is Monday. When I light my candles on Friday, I ask for my family. I ask for what I ask and pray to God. It shouldn't be so much hate.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing all of this with us.
They should learn something. They're always jealous of the Jews. They should learn something from us. They have so much to give all our lives. Our fathers gave the children education years ago. learn from us something. And I don't know why they hate us. And they hate each other. I don't wonder. I'm not wondering that they hate me because I'm Jewish. They hate each other. It's a terrible world.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Now I could use a little vodka, but I'm not allowed.
And we have speed. Okay, Lea.
This is my mother, Bella Miller, maiden name, Wapnik. And this is my father, Fischl Wapnik. It was taken, I think, in 1890
In Vilna?
in Vilna.
Cut. Rolling. Okay, Lea.
This was in the country, in Jerusalem, in Poland, in 1930. The little girl is 6 years old. My mother, my sister Sonia, my oldest one, my middle sister Nadia, my oldest brother Moses, my youngest brother Rachmiel, and the wife Liba, and the little girl Sorele. And the little boychicle is my nephew Abrasha, the son for Moses, for taken in 1930. I'm the little girl.
Okay, Lea.
This is my first husband, Israel Verständig, and our daughter, Bella, and me, in Castel Gandolfo in Italy, in 1947.
Okay, Lea.
This is the group of Kibbutz Omanut, and we were traveling around for all the DP camps, entertaining the Jewish camps and the Jewish people from the concentration camps in Italy, in Castel Gandolfo, Kibbutz Omanut. I am near my girlfriend, the taller one, right?
In the front.
In the front. This is Stefa, the coloratura singer, I'm the folk singer.
And you did it
What?
1945?
1945, 46, 47, 48, and 49.
Okay, Lea.
This is a picture from Santa Maria di Bagna on Santo Tricaso. We were traveling around, and this is a group, and the manager was Ziggy Binur from the Israeli army, accordion player,
And I was singing.
and I was singing.
Sure you weren't one of the Andrews sisters?
Okay. Yes, speed.
All right. This is my wedding in 1965 with Lea Pilecki. Here was my whole family after the war. That's it. In the back, no? Oh. In the back from the right is my nephew Philip, my nephew Harry, and my niece Paula, and my niece Anne, my sister Nadia, my brother, the second one Itzik, my sister-in-law Esther, my brother-in-law Misha, my brother Shleime, and my sister-in-law Sonia, and her daughter Bella. In front is my son-in-law Tony, my daughter Bella. That's me, the Kale. And the other. That's my husband, Moshe, my sister Sonia, the oldest one, and my aunt from America, and my uncle, Mr. Miller and Mrs. Miller.
Okay, Lea.
This is my daughter's 35th birthday. Happy birthday, Bella, in 1981. And this is my husband, Moshe, and that's me. In New York.
Okay, Leah.
That's my younger grandson, Kenny's bar mitzvah. This is my older one, Darren, and this is Bella, and this is Tony. In 1985.
In New York.
In New York. I forgot.
Okay.
This is my two darling, dear grandsons, Kenny on the left and Darren on the right, in July 1995. Good luck to you. I love you.
Okay, Leah.
8 years ago, I made a trip on a group to my homeland Vilna, that's Lithuania now, and we went on Panariv, and they were killed 70,000 Jews on Panariv. And this is the picture.
Of the memorial.
A memorial. And this is all my friends from Holocaust survivors
From Vilna.
from Vilna.
Okay, Leah.
This is the first gathering in Israel in 1981. And we bought their stones for Yad Vashem for the rest of our life and for the rest of the world. This is Wapnik, Vina, Benosha, Vilna. All my friends from the survivors.
Okay, Leah.
This is a friend of mine that I know him since I was 5. He went to Israel, to Yad Vashem, and he found my name and his name in Yad Vashem. This is my daughter Bella and my son-in-law Tony. And I just want to say that I have a wonderful mother and she's a wonderful grandmother.
And I have a wonderful mother-in-law and a great wife.
Thank you. That was nice.